start with? We'll start with chanting the Maha Mantra.
Okay.
I think we are here, and hopefully we will remember this paragraph if we go up and then try to come down.
Okay.
So we'll do the mantra for 5 times, and then we will discuss if we remember some points from last week, and then we can start reading.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Rama,
Hare Ram,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama, Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Oh. So, you want to mention some points that stood out for you from last reading, you remember, or something? If you don't, that's fine.
I know we talked about how like even if the demigods cannot understand Krishna, then how can we expect to, being, mere mortals or humans?
Yeah. And then Arjuna is telling us that in a submissive spirit, when you approach Bhagavad Gita and hear from Krishna, then this great mystery will be revealed to you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, should we start off?
Sure.
I think we read this paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Or we read the paragraph before that. No, we read this paragraph. Yeah, we should start from here, looks like. Out of so many human beings.
Okay. Out of so many human beings who are suffering, there are a few who are actually inquiring about their position, as to what they are, why they are put into this awkward position, and so on. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering, but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering, then one is not to be considered a perfect human being. Humanity begins when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. In the Brahma Sutra, this inquiry is called Brahma Jinasa, Anhato Brahma Jinasa. Every activity of the human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the absolute. Therefore, those who begin to question why they are suffering, or where they came from, and where they shall go after death, are proper students for understanding Bhagavad Gita. The sincere student should also have a firm respect for the supreme personality of Godhead. Such a student was Arjuna.
You want to mention one or two points that stood out for you?
I feel like he's just going on further describing um, uh, what's the word? Uh, not a, I want a word better than good. Like um, a good student should have these qualities, like he had mentioned before about being devoted, and here he's saying about somebody that's inquiring. You know, because some people just go on and don't think much about things of this nature, but somebody that's inquiring and wants to know is a good student also, and Arjuna was that.
Hmm.
And someone that has the firm respect for the supreme Godhead, personality of Godhead.
Yeah. I like this sentence where he says, unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering, but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering, then one is not to be considered a perfect human being. So he's saying human life begins when you start to question, hey, why am I here? From where did I come? Where will I
Mm-hmm.
go? Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening here?
Yes.
Okay, the next paragraph says Lord Krishna descends superficially. No, Lord Krishna descends specifically to re establish the real purpose of life when man forgets that purpose. Even then, out of many, many human beings who awaken, there may be one who actually enters the spirit of understanding his position. And for him, this Bhagavad Gita is spoken. Actually, we are all swallowed by the tigress of nescience, but the Lord is very merciful upon living entities, especially human beings. To this end, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, making his friend Arjuna his student. So, like when a friend is in difficulty, we we make plans of how to help that friend who is going through a tough situation or a difficult circumstance. As a friend, we want to help, and we throw out options. A, can I cook for you? Hey, can I come pick you up? Can I drop you there, or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, Prabhupada saying that a human being in this material world is in a very difficult situation. Like there are so many difficulties that we face. We have diseases, we have different catastrophic disturbances which are forced upon us due to the climatic situations or earthquakes and so many different things that happen while we are in this material world. And so Prabhupada's referring to that as we are all swallowed by the tigress of nescience. He's saying there is so much chaos in the world, and that's like swallowing the real interest of a living entity. That's the reason we fail to ask very important questions like from where did I come, where am I going, what am I supposed to do here. So he's saying while we are in that very difficult situation, Krishna is very merciful because he is our well wisher. He makes Arjuna his student and he starts speaking Bhagavad Gita because Bhagavad Gita is the solution to all our problems that we have, and Krishna wants to give us that solution. So he is not only giving that solution, but by the means of Arjuna, he is showing us how to receive that solution.
Mhm. Yeah, to reiterate what you said, with all the things, catastrophes and disease and everything that we as humans face, a lot of people, I feel like, are just merely trying to survive, much less trying to, you know, be able to have time or the wherewithal to think questions like this, because they're so overwhelmed with all the just daily surviving things.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. If one looks at the world with a vision of um, not just a daily routine kind of vision, but then a vision of a person who is a long term person. He's thinking, okay, what's the goal of life, and am I really pursuing that goal? If one has that kind of vision and one is looking at one's own life and others' life, then he will see that actually one is so busy doing the basics that you don't get to inquire about the actual questions that human beings should be inquiring about.
Right. Should I go on to the next paragraph?
Sure.
Being an associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna was above all ignorance. But Arjuna was put into ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to question Lord Krishna about the problems of life, so that the Lord could explain them for the benefit of future generations of human beings and chalk out the plan of life. Then man could act accordingly and perfect the mission of human life. How was he put in? Um, I don't really know what he means by that. That he was above all ignorance, but but Arjuna was put into ignorance on the battlefield of curse, etc. I
So,
know. Go ahead.
yeah, complete your sentence.
Oh no, I was just going to say I know that's the battle that they're about. That Arjuna's about to which is the story, the backdrop of the story of the Gita.
Mhm. The ignorance is, if you, when we read chapter 1 and chapter 2, we will see this ignorance that uh, is being spoken of here, that
Okay.
Arjuna says, hey, I don't want to fight this battle. You know what, I'll just go to a cave and then I will just sustain myself by meditation. I don't want all this warfare and so much bloodshed. It it's not good for a civilized person to fight, even though the opponent is bent upon fighting.
Mm,
That's what Arjuna says to Krishna in the end of chapter 1.
okay.
And his duty is to fight because he is from an administrative class. Like a policeman says, i don't want to I don't want to catch the person doing wrong. I'll just go to a cave and do meditation, and then say, hey man, do your duty, you're supposed to protect. How come you're running away from what you're supposed to do? So Arjuna is resorting to a plan which is against his duty. That is the ignorance that he's put into. And in actuality, it is being said he is above all ignorance, meaning he is Krishna's most dear friend and he knows everything that Krishna is going to talk to him.
Oh.
But this is a plan where he is put into such a situation so that he can ask questions for our benefit and we can listen, because we can't, Krishna talking first person to us, we can't take it.
Mm.
Like Prabhupada gives an example. He says, if a mother in law wants to tell something to her daughter in law, she will tell to the daughter in front of daughter in law.
Oh.
So the daughter in law hears and understands that, oh, my mother in law likes it this way. But because there is no relationship between mother in law and daughter in law, if the mother in law speaks directly to the daughter in law, she will feel hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So she speaks to her daughter in law through her daughter because she has a relationship with her daughter. So it's the same situation that Krishna is speaking to Arjuna because we can't hear when he talks to us directly.
Okay, that makes sense.
So he's speaking to Arjuna, but it's for our benefit.
Okay.
Okay, let's go further. Says the subject of the Bhagavad Gita entails the comprehension of five basic truths. First of all, the science of God is explained, and then the constitutional position of the living entities, jivas. There is Ishvara, which means the controller, and there are jivas, the living entities which are controlled. If a living entity says that he is not controlled, but that he is free, then he is insane. The living being is controlled in every respect, at least in his conditioned life. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, the subject matter deals with the Ishvara, the supreme controller, and the Jiva, the controlled living entity. Prakriti, material nature, and time, the duration of existence of the whole universe or the manifestation of material nature. And karma, activity, are also discussed. The cosmic manifestation is full of different activities. All living entities are engaged in different
You
activities.
froze up.
Sorry, he said something. The cosmic manifestation is full of different activities. All living entities are engaged in different activities. From Bhagavad Gita, we must learn what God is, what the living entities are, what Prakriti is, what the cosmic manifestation is, how it is controlled by time, and what the activities of living entities are. I see you as muted.
Yes, while you were reading there, everything froze up. You froze up.
Oh,
And then it like kicked me off and then brought me back in. I don't know what happens. So, yeah. But I will let you know that I am very familiar with what Prakriti is. We talk about Prakriti and Purusha a lot in my yoga studies.
nice.
But um, yeah, I'm not familiar with the term jivas, but um, it says here what it means. The controlled living entities.
Can you think of some of the ways in which we, so when it is said jiva, it is we, the living entity, and what are some of the ways that we are controlled?
Is living our human life, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by money,
Mm.
um, like social castes, social classes.
Mm.
Um, we're also controlled by, um, like if we have health issues,
Mm-hmm.
um, what would you say to that? What would your examples be?
Wow, my example would be if we are controlled in very basic ways, like if I have to go to the bathroom, I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
I can't control. I'm
Right.
I'm being controlled.
Okay.
It's like for every small thing, like I have to sleep in the night. I can't
Hmm.
control. I
Right.
can't stay awake 24 hours. It makes me drowsy, meaning I can't function. And we feel we are controlling. So Prabhupada, I like this line where he says, if a living entity says that he is not controlled, but that he is free, then he's insane. Because I take birth, I don't decide who my father and mother are. They are
Mhm.
chosen for me. Right from there, up until the time I leave this world, I don't decide when I leave the world. It is decided for me. So everything from the start to the end and everything in middle, it's all I'm controlled. But in my own small ways, I think, oh, I'm controlling. I can write a software program. I'm controlling something, which is true, but then I myself am being controlled.
Okay. Yeah, see what you're saying.
So so this paragraph's basically talking about 5 topics that are covered in Bhagavad Gita. And so topic number 1 is Krishna, which is the supreme personality of Godhead. Sanskrit they call Ishvara.
Okay.
The second topic is the living entity, which is we. Sanskrit they are calling it as Jiva, but it's actually we. And then third one is material nature, which is what we see all around us. The fourth is activity that we do. We call it karma.
Hmm.
And then the fifth is time. Time. So it is being said that you learn who is God, what are the living entities, what is Prakriti, how it is controlled by time, and what are the activities of the living entity. So these are some basic things that one must know because they give us an idea about our own environment. And when we know that, then we can function better. You want to add something to it?
No.
Okay. It's a long paragraph, so if you want to break it down, you can break it down. If you feel okay, you can read it however you feel.
Okay. I'll read about half of it. Out of these 5 basic subject matters in Bhagavad Gita, it is established that the Supreme Godhead, or Krishna, or Brahman, or the Supreme Controller, or Paramatma, you may use whatever name you like, is the greatest of all. The living beings are in quality like the Supreme Controller. For instance, the Lord has control over the universal affairs of material nature, as will be explained in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Material nature is not independent. She is acting under the directions of the Supreme Lord. As the Lord Krishna says, Maya Mayadhai Kasina Prak Prak I don't
That's your favorite word, Prakriti.
oh, that's Prakriti? Oh, okay. Okay, Prakriti. Suyetsa Karasaram. This material nature is working under my direction. When we see wonderful things happening in the cosmic nature, we should know that behind this cosmic manifestation, there is a controller. Nothing could be manifested without being controlled. It is childish not to consider the controller. For instance, a child may think that an automobile is quite wonderful to be able to run without a horse or another animal pulling it. I got too big here. Okay. But a sane man knows the nature of the automobile's engineering arrangement. He always knows that behind um, he always knows that behind the machinery there is a man, a driver. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the driver under whose direction everything is working. And I'll pause there.
Okay. Should I like increase the font size? Is it like too small?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like that's better. Yeah. What is that word? Maya Dikasina mean? The word before Prakriti? That one.
Maya Dyakshena is Krishna. So the Prakriti is also referred to sometimes as Maya,
Okay.
and Dyakshena is the controller.
Okay.
So he's saying you may feel that, like the examples being quoted, he's saying you may feel that the material nature is working independently when you see the sun rising, the seasons changing. You may feel they are happening on its own. You may feel material nature is the supreme entity, but you should know that I am controlling them. Krishna saying, he's talking.
Okay. I see what you're saying. The sun rising and the moon and everything, the ocean waves, and that Krishna is controller of all, of the universe, of everything.
These examples are nice. Like he's saying the same thing. He's saying a child may think that an automobile is running on its own, But a sane man knows that an automobile is running because there is a driver sitting in the automobile. The automobile can't run on its own.
Mm.
So, similarly, material nature can't function on its own. There has to be a driver, and Krishna is that driver.
Right.
Prabhupada would say elsewhere, he would say, when you see a pregnant woman walking on the road, although her husband is not with her, you know there is a man in her life. It's
Yeah,
as it's as simple as that. Without a man in her life, she cannot be pregnant.
correct.
So the material nature cannot function on its own. There is the Supreme Lord who is the driver and who's driving the whole show. Okay, should I read further?
Sure.
Okay, now the jivas or the living entities have been accepted by the Lord, as we will note in the later chapters, as his parts and parcels. A particle of gold is also gold. A drop of water from the ocean is also salty. Similarly, we, the living entities, being part and parcel of the Supreme Controller Ishvara or Bhagavan, Lord Sri Krishna, have all the qualities of the Supreme Lord in minute quantity because we are minute Ishvaras, subordinate Ishvaras. We are trying to control nature as presently we are trying to control space or planets. And this tendency to control is there because it is in Krishna. But although we have a tendency to lord it over material nature, we should know that we are not the supreme controller. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. What do you understand out of it? You want to state a point or two?
Mm. I mean, it's nothing that I didn't already believe. I've just that Krishna, or whatever name you choose to call, Ishvara, whatever name you choose, is the controller of all. And I've always believed that. I get confused sometimes with the different names that there's multiple names for the Godhead.
Yeah. But Krishna
Like,
is primary.
okay.
This section of the paragraph, like like it was said, there are five subject matters. So the first part of the paragraph which we read was describing Krishna, the first subject matter, and we said he is the driver, he's driving everything. And
Mm-hmm.
now the second part of the paragraph is explaining the second subject matter, which is the jiva, us,
Mm-hmm.
and it is being said that we are part and parcel of Krishna, like a son is to a father. We are coming from Krishna and we have tendencies like Krishna. So, because Krishna is the supreme controller, he controls everything. We want to control something. So, we have our own house, we have a car. Scientists try to control the planets. They have spaceships, they launch spaceships, they want to go to the space, and then so we are trying to do stuff and trying to control, but he's saying we should know that we are not the supreme controller. We may control some little things here and there, but ultimately Krishna is the controller. And we have qualities similar to that of Krishna because we are coming from him. Like if you see the son, he is so much like his father.
Mm-hmm.
You could say physically in features or the habits or the interests and so many things. You will see similarities between a father and a son because the son is a byproduct of the father. Similarly, we are coming from Krishna and we have qualities like Krishna, but in very, very, very minute quantity. So the quality is the same, but then because we are tiny, we have it in very little quantity, although the quality is the same. And Prabhupada gives example of drop of water from the ocean is also salty,
Mm-hmm.
and a particle of gold is also gold.
Mm-hmm. Those are good analogies.
So we are also parts and parcels of Krishna. So whatever qualities are there in Krishna, we will see it in ourselves, but then very, very tiny. And so this will be elaborated further. That's what he's saying, that this is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Should we pause or you want to go ahead, read a little more?
Can we pause for tonight?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you send me? Because I know you did in the very beginning. Where did you send me the send me all this? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I
Oh
don't
shoot, there's a
picture, but I can hear you.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you hold on? I don't know how to do this. Hold on a second. I'm just gonna ignore this call. I've never had this happen before. Okay. All right. Sorry. My boyfriend was calling. You had sent me these, like, didn't you send me this, what you share with me during the Gita? I mean, all of this. Didn't you send it? Like, was it Messenger or something? Or maybe I think it was email.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and check my email. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to get off here because he keeps beeping in here.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. But I'll see you next week.
Okay, we'll connect next week. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.